Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Welcome to therapy. So Forest travelled up to Anfield, held 3 on their way back, and here we are, guys. Here we are. No win in 6. Is that 6 now?
Mm-hmm.
Just no passion, no desire, no willingness to attempt to play. I don't know where we start. I really don't. It's like, as I said on the player ratings, you can lose to Liverpool. There's no shame in that. But bending over and saying how deep, that's a whole different thing for me, man. Seriously. I don't know. Who wants to kick us off? Who wants to kick us off?
Don't all shout at once.
Exactly.
I'll go. Just a general feeling or anything?
Yeah, general. Let's start with a general synopsis of
that. We'll go general. There's been a difference in Steve Cooper from the Championship season to this season. I've said this before in the pre-match press conferences, where in the Championship in that season that we got up, he never really talked about the opposition at all. And when he was asked about the opposition, he'd kind of skirt it. And he tends to just, like the Liverpool pre-match was a lot of, oh, they're a great team, you know, it's going to be difficult, all that sort of thing. And I just wonder what, firstly, that does to the players' mentality. Secondly, when we got to the game, I wasn't surprised with the formation. I know we're struggling up front, and I knew we'd go low block, and I've not got a problem with that. And for up until the first goal, I actually didn't think they had many chances, did they? Keeper didn't have much to do, Turner, until they scored. What I don't understand is why we don't change our formation there and then rather than wait so long. That's what bothers me. And then 2-0 down, you know, there's still some minutes left in the first half, but, you know, we're obviously not going to do anything with that formation. So why don't we do what he did in the second half, where we did look better? You know, when he brought the subs on and we moved 10 yards up the pitch, we did look a bit better. I thought the players were bad today. You know, I'm always going to be, you know, my feelings about Cooper, and I'm not going to harp on about it because there's no point. But I think the players got to look at themselves today. For me, you know, people like Sangare was poor again. You know, really poor for me. MGW, a couple of good passes, but other than that, poor. Just generally poor all the way through. And they couldn't string 2 passes together. Whereas Liverpool, just little triangles, nothing spectacular, little triangles, but we gave them so much space. Just this final point, and then obviously I'll pass to the boys.
Go for it.
We dropped off them a lot. There was no press at all, but there was no even getting tight to the man. So when they were getting the ball, I mean, I nearly clipped it, a screen. I should have took a screen clip and showed it tonight because you'd see what I mean. Each Forest man was 10 yards off one of their players, just standing right away from them. They were just passing it around us. So disappointing all round. Not a surprise of a result, but you've got to give it a bit more passion than that. For me.
Can I just respond to Owen? Love you, Owen, man, but don't tell us to know our level. You know your level. My level is not 16th in the Premier League and bending over to allow Liverpool to walk all over you. That's not my level. It might be your level. It's not mine, mate. Okay.
And
it's not going to be a Cooper out stream. It's going to be a realistic stream. We're not afraid to criticize.
This is a review of Liverpool Forest. We're not allowed. This is the thing. We haven't even started. We haven't said the C word yet. And already people are on it as if, is Cooper a bit above criticism? Is that what's being said? Is Cooper above?
He is. We can criticise players, but not allowed to criticise anybody else.
And that's what I'm saying. It's the player's fault, not Cooper. We put one opening gambit out from Dino, and we haven't even got going. It's like, seriously, like, listen.
Which was
don't like what you're listening to. Don't listen.
The main bit of mine was going in on the players, just not doing the jobs. Just simple, easy foot. You know, just no passing and moving. everybody was static. It was weird. And then you look at Liverpool, you go, oh, look at the great passing game. Man City, look at the great passing game. They just make space for themselves and pass to the man short. There's no 50-yard balls. We were just doing lots of low percentage balls.
Liverpool are a great side, particularly at Anfield. That doesn't mean you go there and lie down. You can still go down there and put your foot in. You can still go down there, go up there, sorry, and actually press and actually put some pressure on them. They may be a great side. They have not got a great defence. We didn't test their defence. A little bit in the second half when Liverpool took the foot off the gas, and they did take the foot off the gas, in my opinion. We started to put a little bit of pressure on, and look what happens. Dominguez on the penalty spot, open goal. So it shows you if you'd have put some pressure on them. I mean, they were playing Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield, literally. He wasn't a left back, but Elanga was being played down the centre. Now I know we had a shortage of strikers today, to say the least. I'm aware of that, but nevertheless, Elanga, in my opinion, would have been better served down the left where all that space was, not through the middle where he was up against Konate and Van Dijk. It didn't make sense to me. Elanga's not a striker anyway, so to put him up against those two monsters, to me, is not the best idea tactically. Obviously, people have got their own opinions. That's fair enough. I'm just telling you mine. I need to get your knickers in a twist.
I'll let them. I couldn't really give a shit. So
hey, do you want me to?
Done.
Yeah, I was saying, do you want me to say my little bit then?
Yeah, say your piece, son. Say your piece.
Say my piece. Yeah, it was very disappointing. To be honest, I was pretty much expecting that. I was hoping it was going to be different this time, but it wasn't. We went up there and gave up. We gave up before we went on the pitch. The formation showed that. And as I say, the lack of intensity showed. If a team believes they're going to win, they'll put everything in. Trust me. They'll be running for everything. They'll be tackling for everything. They'll be bursting their gut for everything. To me, those players didn't look like they were doing that. And I believe that's because they didn't think they could win. Now, I'm sorry, Owen, but part of a manager's job, I believe, is to inspire his team and give them belief and make them win. That's one of Brian Clough's. I know it's old, but it's one of Brian Clough's greatest strengths was his ability to turn average players into good players, etc., by giving them belief. I don't believe at the moment either Steve Cooper's not giving them belief or he's not able to give them belief because some of the players, particularly the newer international players we've got, don't believe in what he's doing. They don't believe in the style we're playing. And that is a problem. And it's only going to get worse. You know, we've not won in 6 games. We've dropped points at home to Luton. We've dropped points at home to Burnley. We've got a last-minute winner against Sheffield United. They're the easy games. What are we going to do with the home games? Now, our away form this season has been a hell of a lot better than last season. But we still only won 1 game. It's getting serious. Now, I don't believe there's any chance we'll go down because no matter how bad we are, I believe there's 3 clubs that are worse. But that's not where I want to be as a Forest fan. Oh, we're okay this season because there are 3 terrible teams. This team is built to attack the top 10. Believe me, Mr. Marinakis and the rest of the staff have done their best to build a squad that's capable of top 10. And I believe that that's what it is. And at the moment, we're not getting there. And I'm not saying Cooper out. I'm not saying Cooper in. I'm just putting it out there that they're the facts.
You comparing Forest to Man City, Owen? Come on, Owen, man. Even by your standards, really?
Owen, you're really grasping, dude. Come on.
Oh, come on, man. Seriously.
I mean, it wasn't last minute, actually. But Spurs got 2 last-minute goals against them. Sheffield must be brilliant. We did well, actually. Well done, beating Sheffield 2-1 home with a last-minute goal. Well done. Brilliant. That'll get us top 10. No problem. That form. Brilliant.
Can I just, before you bring crypto in, Wolverine, can I just answer to Owen again? We aren't top 10, Owen. The squad is, I think the squad is 10 or 11th best squad in the league for me. 9th, 10th.
Absolutely top 10.
So
Absolutely.
We aren't top 10, we're 16th, but you know, we have a squad to do it. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to gel together, for them to, you know, everything that the management team say, you know, we're still gelling together, still embedding players and all these things. I mean, how long is that going to be?
I was going to say, Dino, kind of sorry to interrupt, but I've got to say this before I forget it. People, I know that people are going to say it's early days. It's not early days. We're a quarter of the way through the season now. Think about that. We're over a quarter of the way through the season. That is not early days.
Mm.
Yeah. Ben, I want to bring you in. Let me just shout out a couple of shout outs. Nikki, thank you for the 3 months, bro. Add 11 onto that, and you end up with Will 14 months. Look at that beautiful picture of him and Psycho. Man, how we miss leaders like Psycho and Will on the pitch.
And Will. Yeah.
And big up to BIG with the $2. You said you had a better midfield than Liverpool. I did not say that. I said
I'll tell you what.
11. In my combined 11, the Forest ones would get in.
I don't think there's a lot of difference, because I think McAllister's a waste of space.
Slobbersla's good there, isn't he? He's good.
Slobbersla's great. Yeah,
he's really good. He's one of the signings of the season, really.
Gravenberch can't score a goal against an open net against Brighton, so it is what it is.
Also, when we say stuff like that, we mean at their best, and Sangare is not. At least I hope he's not at his best.
We will talk about Sangare in a second. Crypto, what did you think of the team when you saw it today? Because again, Cooper made he made the excuse in the post-match saying, I didn't want to go to a back five. I was forced into a back five because of injuries. Yet he still found a way to switch into a back four when the back five wasn't working. Do you think that the system was right to start with?
Look, I don't mind low block against clubs like Liverpool. It can work. My problem is that once we go down, there's no plan B. I mean, the thing that annoys me about Cooper, and it works both ways, is his substitution. So last week we criticised him for making the wrong substitutions, but normally we criticise him for making them too late. And again, it feels like that today. You know, we go 1-0 down, we go 2-0 down. At 1-0 down, surely we should be making changes, or do we not want to come back and try and score some points? Low block has its place, but there's been several occasions where it just doesn't work. And it does generally look like there is no plan B, or at least plan B doesn't start until the 70th minute when we try and come back and score some goals, which is just too late. I think today, if Taiwo is on the bench, then he's fit. So you either start Taiwo and you try to actually win the game and win some points, or you don't bring him on at all, because there's no point at 2-0 down bringing on Taiwo with 20 minutes left. You know, like you said on the stream earlier, you risk him getting injured. We can't risk that. We have no strikers. I mean, if Chris Wood's got a hamstring injury, I'm guessing it's going to be a few weeks before he comes back. So, yeah, I mean, low block can work, but you have to have a backup plan when it inevitably doesn't work.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time it happens. One thing I'd like to say as well is we've got to get more clinical in our passes. There was a few times where Alanga did actually break through. I know the first one was offside, but there was a second one where Murillo played the ball. Really good ball, went through the heart of their defence. But it was way too powerful. Their keeper just came out and kicked it off nearly from the halfway line. So we've got to get more clinical in our chances. If we're going to play low block, if we're going to play counter-attacking football, then you've got to take your chances. Again, with the Dominguez one, you've got to take a chance like that. You're not going to get many playing low block football, and you can't then screw them up once it happens. And I know we're going to talk about this later, but I thought Turner wasn't brilliant either today, especially on the third goal. It was a crazy moment.
Can I just?
You had your finger up, Dino.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Why did you come hesitation? Because I've forgotten it.
Oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah, thanks, Helen. You just reminded me. Yeah, now we complained about our low block against Chelsea. I was going to add on to Crypto's point there. Chelsea was a brilliant performance. For me, who loves tactics, it was brilliant. It was a defensive masterclass, that was. But the thing is, for that to work, you've got to be on it all game. Mm-hmm. And once you made a mistake in defense or goal or whatever, then you're up against it. And I agree with you, Crypto. Then you've got to change. That's what I opened up with, saying 1 and 2 down. You need to make changes then, because you're not going to get anywhere. So no blocking like that. You're looking for a lucky goal on the break or a goal on the counter attack, and you're looking at not letting in any goals. But as soon as we went to go down, now Chelsea was a different story. Chelsea at the time were nowhere near as good as Liverpool. They were really struggling. But not to take it away from Forest, that was a dominant defensive performance by Forest that day. But we don't you don't win with the low block very often. You think of all the low blocks we did away from home last year, and I'm not really counting the Southampton win away because we didn't really low block. It just doesn't. Chelsea was the one shining example for me.
But that's one example in 2 seasons.
Yeah, one example. Yeah, exactly.
Not only that. That was a fantastic performance, absolutely brilliant. But Chelsea were very poor today. And yesterday, Brenton played a low block, 1-2-0 against Chelsea at the Bridge. So it's not unique. You know what I mean? It's not like incredible.
Unique, no.
When you play low block, everyone has to be on top of their game. I mean, if you look at Worrell and McKenna in that game, they played brilliant, and we complimented them for it. But obviously, the consistency isn't always there with them. If you look today, for example, all it takes, I know they didn't score at this point, but you know when Murillo slipped over, that could have easily been a goal. Turner made a good save. That is all it takes, and you've ruined the whole game plan. Just a simple mistake. And it's constant pressure.
But you know what, as well, for the low block, right? People always think a low block, your defenders have to be brilliant. I've just had a little think to myself, and actually, that's not true. Defenders should be able to cope very easily with a low block. They're in their natural positions. They don't have to move out. They're not being caught out. They shouldn't be caught out of position. They just sit there. So in a matter of fact, that's why teams can low block, even if they've got poor quality defenders. It's the midfield and the strike force that have to be on top of the game, because that's where the transition comes, where you can grab your one goal that you need.
We don't have a strike force, though.
I know. I'm just saying as a tactical insight for you. You know, it's actually the midfield and the strike force that have to be on top of the games, not the defense.
There's so much pressure, though. Like I almost feel bad for them. Like it's constant pressure. They'd had, I think it was like 6 shots by.
What they get paid for.
20. Yeah, but people make mistakes. It's only natural. I mean, I think of the hundreds of times people have made mistakes for Forest. It is a lot of pressure. It's just constant sit back and defend. And then, like I say, when we're countering,
Easy.
What do we actually have there? We don't have a counter-attacking force.
There was actually an interesting statement made by Cooper, I believe, after the match, where he said they had planned to play a 4-back. And it was only when Chris Wood got injured at the last minute that they changed it to a 5.
Not buying it.
Believe that, if you like.
Not buying it. And Ben, this is what you're saying here. This was the momentum graph, just to show you guys. I know we're the Reds, but not today. We weren't. And you can see the just build up of the pressure. Like the only time we got the ball in our momentum was the 44th minute. Sorry. Until then, it was constant. And it was what I was saying on stream was that eventually, and I said it before the goals happened, I said, you got to have a couple of players forward, because all that's happening is the ball's being booted forward and coming straight back. And then eventually you're going to crack. And then even in the second half, we got 1 minute there. I don't know where that came from. And then it was just constantly Liverpool with the odd minute here and there of Forest getting the ball. And then eventually, this is the period that Cooper claimed we looked like we were getting back into the game. That was from 71 to 74 minutes. 3 whole minutes, man. And then
but you know what?
The third.
That kind of proves my point in a way, because what I'm saying is the defense can defend, but you need your midfield and strike force to give them a break. And if they're not functioning, this is what I'm saying, they're more important than the defense, because if they're not functioning, the ball just keeps coming back on those defenders.
But it looks to me like Cooper's got everyone sat behind the halfway line. It looks like they're being told to sit back. It looks like Morgan Gibbs-White is being played as like a number 6 almost. It just seems crazy to me. It's like there was a point where their keeper was about 2 yards away from the halfway line. I mean, that is ultra low block. If your keeper is playing out from the back on the halfway line, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then just very quickly on the stats, 73 to 27. So congratulations for all those you who guessed 27 in the watch along. XG for them was nearly 3, and ours was 0.45. 21 shots to 9, 8 shots on target to 1. Apparently, we created one big chance. I can't remember that one big chance.
Dominguez, wasn't it? Dominguez.
No, he missed it. He wasn't even a chance. He trips over his feet.
You're right.
That was a chance. It was Elanga at the bar, underside of the bar, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was Yates crossed it over perfectly for Elanga, and he
So Dino, are you telling me in those statistics they don't count that Dominguez as a chance? He never had a chance to score.
No, he didn't kick
I'm
it.
not
He
getting
didn't
you.
kick
I'm not
it.
getting you. I'm just trying to understand it.
I think he scored a big chance. I mean, he just missed the ball. So
That was a fucking humongous chance, mate. Trust me, if I was there, I'd have put it in the back of the net. That was a big chance.
21 shots is a joke. That's like a stat you'd see on FIFA. I mean, that is a lot of shots on your goal. That isn't.
Yeah,
I
some of the
think the
stats
real
are crap,
joke is
aren't they?
here,
Some of
guys.
the things that counts as shots are not shots. They just bounce, 5 yards wide, don't they?
Yeah, but when you look at this for me is the stat that still worries me: the accurate passes. Liverpool in the 90s, no pressure at all. From what you guys are saying, I fully agree. There's no pressure on the press whatsoever. I was at 72%. That's over 186 accurate passes. It's if you're not gonna be able to pass the ball from A to B, well, how are you gonna not make mistakes? That's the thing for me, and that's the worrying thing. Look, we will do the happy clapper line. We know it's Liverpool. No one's here. Did anyone here think we were going to win today?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we got that elephant out the room. Okay. But I think what we're saying here, boys, is that show some fight and desire. And if you're going to go down, because let me give you this, because I'll give you a happy clapper line here. They always say that we were better versus the previous tie last season. Are they going to be saying that now when we lost 3-2 there last year versus this 3-0 today? Which performance was actually better? So are they going to start changing their narrative on that line, which I can't stand? I don't know why people like to look back so much. But yeah, it's...
Owen, we know we're not the fucking only ones to low block at Liverpool. Jesus, I think you think we are.
Yeah, I was
ways
just
to low
responding to that
block.
in the
There's
chat.
ways to low block, right? There's playing low block well, and then there's ultra low block and playing shit and not be able to pass the ball. Do you not understand that?
I'd like to know.
Let's cut Owen some slack. He's a long-time supporter. He's Cooper in.
He's right, No,
I know, but he's still entitled to his opinion. So
it'd be interesting to know, Owen, just in the chat, what you think the backup is once we go down in low block. Because I don't mind low block against certain teams. It's where's the plan B?
It's a great point.
There is no plan B for me.
Well, his plan B was, I saw him when we kicked off for the second half. There was obviously no changes at halftime, but we did definitely push further up the pitch. And he moved Dominguez and MGW up alongside Langer for most of it. So it was almost a 3, but it was kind of the wrong 3 in a way.
But Dino, doesn't that say to you, if at halftime we don't even have a striker on the pitch, when our best striker sat on the bench, that it's almost like he's not trying? To me, it looks like he's trying to... Right, he's not trying to lose, but he's trying not to concede too many goals so that it doesn't look really bad. I feel like if Cooper loses 1 or 2-0, that's job done for him. He's happy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Liverpool. We lost 1-0 away from home. So what?
Yeah.
Because what he could have done is he could have bought Taiwan at halftime and actually tried to win the game.
Yeah,
we did have a couple of chances, didn't we? We did have a couple of chances with Dominguez. Just, I don't know what happened there. And Elanga, that was unlucky. That was a good volley. But, the damage had been done by that point. Like you say, Liverpool had taken the foot off the gas. They're in second gear, somebody put in the chat, which I agree with. They bought a load of subs on as well.
Look, quite a few people are saying, Arctic, shout out to Rob. Yeah, when we're doing part 2. It was working until Murillo went on a solo run. Thomas is saying that as well. Low block was working until Murillo's mistake. And the point I would argue back with that is the mistake was going to come, be it Murillo, be it Morgan Gibbs White, be it whoever, because of the sustained pressure. This is the point. I just don't think people are understanding it. If you're playing, I've seen it even at under 13s level. Like when we play a crap team, even if the other manager puts 11 men behind the ball, I'm happy with that because I know I can bring my defense right up to the halfway line, turn the pitch into half a pitch, and then eventually a kid is going to make a mistake or a shot is going to go in. There's no fear of conceding from the other side. But the mistakes will happen because it's so hard to concentrate that tightly. Every pass has to be exactly accurate. Every clearance, all it does is go to the centre back who I've got at the halfway line and we'll come back. And then you're just going to score. Go on, Ant, you can say something.
So me? Yeah, it went off for a second.
Sorry.
What I was going to say is when Murillo first lost that ball, I was annoyed, But on reflection, I don't want him to ever stop doing that because he's brilliant at doing it. I don't want him to ever stop doing that. So now I'm thinking, no, the issue is when the defenders see Murillo go on a run, they should automatically cover that. And not.
That's exactly what Rob says here.
Yeah. So that's where the mistake is. It's a lack of communication or whatever it is, a lack of passion, call it what you like. But they let him run and they were just standing around him. No, they should have ran back to cover for him, in my opinion. I don't want him to ever stop that.
Yeah. You know, at half time, Klopp is sitting in his changing room speaking to his team. And what he should be saying is, right, lads, now we're going to expect them to bring it on. They're going to try and come back. And it just seems so weird to me that in reality, sitting in his change room saying they're going to carry on low blocking for another half an hour. Don't worry about it. Just carry on doing what you're doing.
Point.
Yeah, but Crypto, you're right in what you said. And I think this point cannot be hidden away from. That Cooper is happy to go away from Anfield, Old Trafford, wherever, losing as long as it's not a spanking. Because that seems to be, and for me, that's the wrong mentality. That's the wrong mentality. Because let's face it, if he got stuffed today, 7-8-0, he's gone. Yeah. So is there a bit of protectionism? Is that even a word? I don't know. Going on about his own ass on there, Dino.
Yeah, I mean, he had his arms tied up behind his back a little bit, didn't he? Because he had no strikers. But, you know, how
having a striker would have made a difference?
You know, it just baffles me.
Dino, do you think having a striker would have put the game approach in a different way?
I think he would have played a 3 up front. I think he would have played with 2 wide men and Taiwo in the middle. But, you know, there's a question of, you know, if Taiwo can come on, why don't we start him before we go 2 down, before it's too late? And then bring him, if he's not fit enough and the computer says no, he's not fit enough, and his bra that he wears is telling them that he needs to come off, then bring him off at half time. He might have bagged the goal by then, and then we've got something to low block for, haven't we? Just saying.
Yeah, I'll pull you up on that, Dino. I did say to you when we did the preview, was it yesterday, the day before? Like, why would you start with the low block? Why not start going for it? And then if we need to, then you can revert into a low block.
You know I think I've just been brainwashed by Cooper's tactics, to be honest.
Welcome back.
You know what?
I've seen enough of it for a whole. Sorry, Anne. I've seen enough of it for a whole season and 10 games away from home to think, yeah, we'll have to low block and we'll have to drag a result out. Need to get one of those bras. I do, Rob.
I've said on a few streams that I'm not too overly bothered about tactics, right? Because players can move about. Whatever tactic you play, the players have to be comfortable in that formation and know what they're doing and have to play well. And that didn't happen today. So whatever you can say about whether it should have been a 5-back, 3-back, whatever, 2 to 4-back, whatever you want to say, the fact of the matter is that the players who played today didn't look like they knew what they were doing a lot of the time, and they didn't play well. They kept giving the ball away and they kept losing challenges. Yeah, but we said all along, didn't we, that we're not stupid. We know that Liverpool are a better team than we are. And if we go there with a 5-back, we're absolutely fine with that as long as we put up a good performance. And we didn't put up a good performance. You can have a low block, you can lose 3-0, but still have a good performance. We didn't. That's the problem.
And you say the players can move around. I don't think they're allowed to by Cooper. I think they're literally...
I don't know. I wouldn't put that on Cooper. I just think that basic... And Wolverine, I'll tell you this, in his under-13s team, the lads will move for each other at that age, won't they? They will create space, pass, and they'll be passing in little triangles all the way up the pitch. You know, I've helped my brother with youth football in the past, and it was the same. It's a similar sort of age. They're doing that at that age. So why have they forgotten it when they're professional footballers? And I think today, like I said before, they were just not making space for each other. There was players in front of the players they needed to pass to, and that's why our passing rate was 70%, 72%.
There's no desire though. Once you go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, you lose the motivation to, because they're on the pitch.
Really?
Yeah, but they're on the pitch thinking, well, how can we score? Because we don't have a striker on the pitch.
I've been motivated by the badge, man, and the wages I'm getting, and how privileged I am to have
these guys are playing.
No, they should be motivated purely by being professional sportsmen and wanting to be the best that they can be.
Yeah, agreed. But
they should be.
Finish your point.
It's like, you know, there's lots of people, whatever career it is, you kind of go to work to afford to live. There comes a point where people get bored, people don't try as hard as they did when they initially started, etc. It's, these guys are safe in their job. It's not them who are going to get sacked if something bad happens.
Right.
I almost
they're
feel
professional
like
athletes. They're not somebody going to work in an office. They're professional athletes.
yeah,
Their whole drive.
I know, but you can tell when you watch it that some of them just
I agree.
don't really
No,
look
I
like
agree. It doesn't always work. I agree with that, Crypto.
They should be on it every game, and the manager should choose them based on who is motivated. But I think if you do go 2-0 down, then you are going to have your confidence knocked. And we've said all along, what does Cooper say at halftime? Because it's never ever seemed to work. So I don't know how motivating his halftime team talks are.
Did you see? Now, before, don't start on me, right? I'm just talking about attitude. When Yates come on, his attitude was good. He was pressing. His attitude was right. Why were the other 11 not like that for me?
Because Yates is a Nottingham Forest supporter through and through.
It can't be that. It can't. Because you're a Nottingham lad. Come on.
Yeah, but you've got to think how much passion you've got for the club, how much desire. He also wants to win his place back in the team. I know they're playing for their club, but for them, they could be playing for a different club next year. It doesn't matter to them. Look at Johnson. He can go and play for Tottenham and get paid twice as much.
But Brennan was a homegrown player. He couldn't wait to fucking run down that motorway. It's time for Spurs.
Yeah,
couldn't wait.
I know, but Yates is different.
Put his pants on. He was that fucking keen.
Yates hasn't got the skills to go to places like that.
So okay. So it only matters if you're crap then. Not that Yates is crap. All right, if you're not the best, then it matters. But if you are good, then it doesn't matter.
To me, there's a difference whether if you're a homegrown player, I do think you have 5% extra in the tank that you genuinely care for that club and you care every single game. You care about the fans. You care what your family think. Whereas if you're
I think that's all bullshit.
I did because Crypto. I'm just going to make you contradict yourself. So should he have brought Worrell on?
No, because Worrell's crap. Although actually,
wait.
Hang on a second. Worrell, the types of games Worrell should be coming on is when we're 2-0 down and it doesn't matter. Because if you do want to play your captain, play him at 2-0 down. Do not play him at 2-0 up when he's going to cost us the game.
Don't play him at all if he's not good enough.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't play him at all. I'd kick Worrell on the next flight to New Zealand, wherever. I'd kick him off the island. He's not good enough to play for Nottingham Forest. But you can't fault.
You're contradicting yourself. You're contradicting yourself. What you just said about Yates.
Different things. It's like the passion. You can see the passion for Worrell and Yates. That's why they are the captain and vice captain. You can see they want to try, but they're not always. They don't have the skills to be that high level.
I think you're contradicting.
Somebody's put. Do you think Sangare beats Garibaldi red? He probably does bleed red, actually.
No,
but do you think that Bernardo Silva bleeds Manchester City blue?
Okay, right. We're sidetracking. Let's move this on because we still got a lot.
Should we go on to assessing the players?
Yeah, it's players.
Let's get on to some of the other topics. Let me just massive shout out to Nottingham now and then with the £10, the absolute beauty. Watching later, damn migraine, probably caused by the shite football. I've been feeling better, bro. And something we mentioned on the watch along, but it's well worth mentioning again. Ripped at Adam Johnson from the Panthers. Horrific news. What I will say is there's a lot of crap going around social media of people reposting and posting it. It's not for social media. Let him and his family kind of mourn how they need to mourn. It's
shocking. What kind of people want to post videos like that?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're sharing war stuff or what have you. This is someone that's had a tragedy, so leave it be kind of thing. And there's over 350 of you already in here. Thank you for chilling with us this fine Sunday night therapy session. But only 55 likes. Please do take a quick second, hit the like,
guys.
Subscribe if you are new. And it wouldn't be a stream without our beloved Sharky with the £2. Steve Cooper will not last. Big M will want more than this. We will cover that off. Bro. But I want to move on first before we come to that subject to the goalkeeper. I put the blame on Turner for the first goal, and I know a lot of people didn't agree with me. I'll rephrase it into partial blame. He shouldn't have parried it into the path of Jota. I'm sorry, but the shot wasn't exactly a world beater. However, I think we'll be all unanimous in agreeing that that third goal, what the actual crap was he doing, Dino?
Yeah, I mean, I knew this had come to me because you seem to think that I love Turner. But like I said in the last stream, I have no affinity to him or Vlachodimos. But, and I'll come back onto it, the first goal for me was deflected. I don't see how you think he could catch it or tip it round from there personally, but that's just a personal view. So I don't put the first goal down to him. The third goal was horrendous. What he was doing out there, I do not know. I do not know. You blame me for not saying he's made a mistake yet. Yeah. Well, okay, then. Here we go. How about this then? So he's made a big mistake today, right? So that's fine. Drop him out the team, put Vlachodimos in. Let's hope he doesn't make a mistake in his first game, because then what are you going to do? Drop him? Bring somebody else in? Hennessy. Yeah, and then, you know, Mangala, when he does a bad miss. I mean, Murillo, he made a couple of howlers today.
Fair point.
Are we sacking him off and bringing Babadelli in? You know, where does it stop? Because it does feel like, for some reason, people have got the knives out for Turner. Now, great, bring Vlachodimos in. He turned out a howler today on that goal, third goal. But the saviour, there you go. Time to get Vlad the saviour. Great, bring him in. Let's see what he's like. Because once he makes a mistake, I'll be back at you all saying, drop him.
Not me.
No. You know.
Ooh,
right.
Can I have threatened? I love this. The chat has been threatened.
No, I'll be like, turn her back in. Black's made a mistake. Black's made 2 mistakes. Turn her back in. And you'll be going, no.
Right. Yeah, okay. For the second goal, I don't blame Turner. It was a decent shot across the goal. He parried it away from the goal, not out into the middle, like Navas used to. So he actually parried it away. Where was our right back covering Jota? Where was he? That's his job. That is his job. Turner's done his job. He's parried it away. Where's the defender? Okay, so that's second goal. Third goal, yes. Nobody can die. That was an absolute howler. But I've seen plenty of goalkeepers do that, to be fair. It's not a one-off.
I love Darryl. How we tried to play
goalkeeper. Yeah,
how we tried to play Toffolo was funny, wasn't
it? Yeah. It doesn't mean you're a bad goalkeeper because you make a stupid fuck up when you're running out. It was a bad mistake. I'm not excusing that. Vlachodimos, as I've said before, I don't know a thing about the guy. I've seen his highlights. Yeah, of course he looks good on his highlights. Funnily enough, they don't show all the fuck-ups, mistakes, hiccups, and spillages that goalkeepers do on a goalkeeper's package. He costs less than Turner. I've said before, I don't know why we're all assuming he's been brought in as number 1. I know what you've said because we thought we're getting Hendo, blah, blah, blah. But they bought Vlachodimos after they bought Turner. So, you know, I'm like Dino. I'm not sure that he deserves dropping because his general goalkeeping has been okay. He's looked quite good coming out. One thing that does drive it that I don't understand, and it's obviously under instruction, and he must stop it, is that booting it out to the right-hand side straight out of play. Because he does it every single time. Now, he's obviously been told to put it out to that winger, but he's not able. So
he's not told. He's not been told Jono's gone.
Yeah, but even Jono's not 20 foot tall. It's not the fact that it's too far. It's the fact that he just goes straight out. He's got to stop that because it's costing us probably 5 or 6 possessions a match, and that's a lot of possession to be given.
But I don't think that's the biggest issue with him, to be honest. Look, I agree with what you boys are saying. It's keepers make mistakes. They'll always be highlighted because there's no one behind them. That's it. Last line of defense. My biggest issue with Turner is he takes so long to distribute the ball that it just slows the play that's already slow anyway, even further down. I don't know why he can't just take a quick touch and then push it across. I mean, today he fell over throwing the ball out of his hand, and then he fell over kicking the ball.
You can't go to a goalkeeper for slipping on the turf.
I'm just saying, like, these are things you don't see normal players do. And then Aurier was falling over, and I think 1 or 2 other players. What's wrong with their studs? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a mess. And I agree with what someone said in the chat there. What's the harm in trying Vlachodimos out? I'm not saying drop Turner. I'm saying I want to see the other shiny toy. How do you know we haven't got the next? I don't know.
Because you don't do that in the Premier League, and unfortunately, we've not got a cup match to try it out.
Your beloved Arsenal do.
They're in the cup.
No, they did it in the league, mate.
No, that was a decision to make Ryan number one. It's got nothing to do with trying him out. He was number one. I think that's fairly obvious.
Ben, which way would you go, Turner or Vlack?
So it'd just be a selfish decision that I want to see what Vlachodimos is like. I think I agree with Dino that when he was trying to parry the ball, he was just trying to make a save. I mean, it was a decent shot. It would be hard for him to see where he's got to parry the ball to as well. But yeah, the third goal was just a bit crazy. And you know, we haven't won in 7 matches now. So let's try something new and let's see what the new players are like. It can't be any worse than losing 3-0. It can be worse. Points wise, it can't be. So one point I just wanted to make on, I won't go back into talking about it, but one thing I wanted to say is I genuinely think that if Worrell and Yates were not professional footballers, they would be sat in the stands watching the games, and no one else would.
So
that's my point about the difference.
It's funny though, isn't it? I bet you there's about 90% of people who are saying Vlachodimos in who have never ever seen him play 1 second of football.
Agreed, but so what? So what?
We need to change it up.
You've got to have some foundation for your opinion, surely.
Yeah, but their opinion could be that they've seen Turner make mistakes now against Brentford and against Liverpool. So next man up. I'll tell you why. Because there was a cry from the Man United fan base to drop Onana for their Turkish goalkeeper, who none of them had seen, and they're like, just test him out. It's not just the Forest fans that think
Same
that.
with Chelsea. Same with Chelsea.
Chelsea as well.
It's not like Turner's the best goalkeeper ever. Like, I'm sure we could drop him for a match and see how Vlachodimos is.
You know what? You know what my first thought was when he did parry that out. This is shocking. My first thought was, fucking hell, Shilton would have caught that, and he would have.
So you do agree he shouldn't have parried it?
Yeah, but that's a different level. That's a different level of goalkeeper you're talking about.
And he didn't wear gloves. Okay, so look, the other player that we have to talk about is a player that we bigged up, a player that we helped get into the club, Sangare. For me, the second goal is on him. He just let Szoboszlai go. He didn't track his run. He was lazily tracking his run in the first place. For me, that's my personal opinion. And then he let him run in behind without a care in the world. And, you know, that's what we said when we signed him. He looked very like, yeah, whatever. And it's kind of reflecting on the pitch. And I'll kick off with you on this one, because I know you were still aroused till yesterday that we'd signed him. But is it time to start questioning him now that he's been, 5-6 games into the team? What are your thoughts on it? And chat, what are you saying on Sangare?
Well, as you know, I was a massive advocate of bringing him in. And I'm still hoping that the player's still there. He's not gone away. But somebody in the chat earlier on, when we were talking about bleeding red and bleeding blue, somebody put Sangare bleeds weed. And he does kind of look that way, doesn't he? He does kind of look like he's had a couple of smokes before he's gone out there. Even his eyes.
Say allegedly after that sentence, please.
And it's kind of, it's a little bit concerning. I mean, I'm by no way giving up on him, because, you know, I do know he's got quality. But
heard that before.
My worry is that we kept saying this about Scarpa, and he never got a chance, did he? At least Sangare is getting a chance. I still believe he's going to come good, but I am worried because it's showing nothing at all. I mean, actually, that's not true. Today, he did one beautiful little 2-foot pass to himself and got out.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, there he is.
Bohemian-esque, wasn't it? That was.
Yeah. Look, there he is. And then that was that.
Yeah.
In short, Wolfie, I'm worried because he does look disinterested, and that's not a good look.
This is the exact point I'm trying to make, right? So Sangare's skill level is here,
Mm.
but his desire is here. Whereas someone like Yates, his skill level is a bit down here, but his desire is higher. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But Ben, the problem is
interested.
Okay, Ben. Problem is Murillo's skill level is here. Worrell's skill level is sorry here. You can't see my arm. I'll just keep coming back to you with that
here.
point.
But I'm not. I'm trying to say that they look like they try. Whereas someone like Sangare, since he started, I don't think he's done anything necessarily awful, but he just looks like it's kind of, a bit casual. He's very slow. I noticed when he's trying to track back people who he's trying to tackle, he's very slow. There was a few points today where he's kind of chasing people down and he can't catch up with him. Again, whether that's his actual pace or whether he can't be bothered.
Dino, do you think who just said it? That was absolutely spot on.
Simon.
Yeah. He's not used to the low block. Are we playing to his weaknesses rather than his strength? Is this not on him?
No, he's a professional footballer. He should be able to adapt to every situation, which he would have done in his entire career from playing as a boy. But I mean, I was going to mention tonight exactly the same thing as Crypto did. If we could take Yates's desire and passion and stick that into Sangare, we'd have one hell of a player, or vice versa. But I think he looks lazy. He looks, I don't know whether he looks a bit pompous, like he's just the key person on the pitch, like he's the marquee signing that we penned him to be, and the club did as well, not just us. I'm disappointed with him, to be honest. He has flashes, and it's a bit like MGW. He has flashes as well, but not consistent over a whole game. Mangala does fade in games, and he did today, but Mangala was fairly consistent that first half.
He's brilliant.
I thought
he was brilliant.
Inconsistent Sangare is from 1 minute to the next. He can do something bloody brilliant, and then he looks off the pace and awful.
Here's a question for you, Dino. If your desire drops, do you think it's dropping based on the club or the manager?
I think a lot of Forest problems at the minute, and Emma put it way earlier in the chat when she said it. Lack of confidence at the minute. When you've gone 6 games without a win and you've played the bottom 3, and you've kind of struggled in all those 3 games. I know we got the win against Sheffield, but we kind of struggled along in all those games. Then the confidence is going to be lower. But that's where your management team come in. That's where your motivational manager comes in and picks players like MGW out and says, "Look, do simple stuff. You're a fantastic player. Don't try and dribble around everybody. Don't try all these flicks. Just keep moving the ball forward. You guys down the wing, you're paid to dribble and get the ball in the box.
That's not happening.
Keep it dead simple." And with Sangare, he's got a lot more energy to give, man. He's never shattered. Yeah, but it seems like he's got like 80% tank left for me.
In reality, what's
motivate happening? Put a kick up their arse.
In reality, what's happening is, right, we haven't won for 6 games, now go out and low block. So the motivation is dead before the game even starts.
I totally agree with you. I mean, it's not a tactic I would do personally, and I don't think a lot of the things, but I don't mind it because it can work. But when you go 1 down, like I said before, then you've got to change it straight away. Remember, it's the 31st minute, you change it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a really good point by Crypto. Players like Sangare, I don't think they want to be playing in a low block team.
100%.
What's he supposed to do in a low block team? Pass it to the guy next to him. He wants to be marauding forward. He wants to be getting to the opposition half. He wants to be creating stuff. He wants to be crashing into tackles, winning the ball and playing somebody free. He don't want to be sitting in a low block.
But mate, listen, we haven't played low block all season. We've played a 4 at the back and progressed. No, we have. We've progressed further up the pitch at home games this season. Have we not? Where have you been?
Yeah, I agree.
I've been to every game, but we've played with what are our percentage?
You're taking at home?
We've played 5 games with 4 at the back, I think. 5 games with 4.
Are you taking home or away, Dino?
Oh, not away. Away. We just
Okay.
we have this stigma away. We have. I'm
Yeah.
talking about home. So he's
Okay,
had the
fair enough.
opportunity to play more progressively, and he has got up the pitch. He's still, for me, not lit any of our fires yet. Even in the home games where he's played, and we've played more progressive with a 4-3-3, he still hasn't lit our fires. We've not said, and I think if you look back at Wolverines player ratings and the chat's player ratings as well, you'll see that he's not ever had a high score yet. He's not an 8 or a 9, has he? And he needs an 8 or a 9 now because he's got to start getting it soon. He's got to stand up and be counted, man.
Okay, let me put this question to you boys. Let me start with Ant, because then Ant, you need to speak to Nathan. I think he's been hacked. Would you drop Sangare?
No. No.
Yes or no in the chat. Would you drop Sangare? Why not?
Because I think he's an absolutely quality player, and he just needs time. He just needs time. I can't believe he's going to continue this way. If he continues this way for another 5 or 6 games, then you've got to consider it. But no, I wouldn't. There's nobody to bring in that's better. Well, Santos may be better, not better, but perform better at this moment. And that's probably the one that I would consider bringing in. But no, I think we need to give him time, but not the rest of the season. There is a limit.
Ben, would you drop him?
No, I wouldn't drop him. I don't think he's done anything necessarily wrong. I just think he looks a bit kind of average. But if you drop him, then he might get, annoyed, frustrated, and then try even less hard. I think he can obviously be a good player. We know he's got the skills there, but I don't know. I feel like if you say he needs time, yes, he does, but the whole team needs to just push forward. The team needs to move forward. Or in his highlights, he's passing the ball forward. He's creating chances. Sometimes he's on the edge of the box. Today, he sat back on the edge of our box. It's a different play style for him. Yes, he can adapt, but we're not utilizing his skills.
Do you? It's a question for you three, really, on the chat. Do you think, for me, if it was me in that manager's job, I'd have him in privately and just say, look, you need to be showing more than this. This isn't good. Like you would at work, if your manager comes to you and says that you're not performing well, I would say, I'm expecting more from you, Ibrahim.
Yeah, but acid burn is never available, Dean.
Yeah. Do you think? You get somebody to translate it, right? Because I know there's an issue, and that could be an issue with just the communication in general. But do you three think that we've got a management team to do that and actually just give them that kick up the arse?
No,
because we've heard he's too nice from the players themselves.
Here's the thing, because something Arctic just said here. If Cooper dropped Sangare, would you guys support it? I would say yes, because if you didn't, you'd be quite hypocritical. Because I think everyone on the panel said that he needed to drop Morgan Gibbs-White just to give him a little slap. And I think with Sangare, it's a case of you don't need to fully slap him. You need to just. I would consider dropping him. I thought Santos was all right when he came on, and I don't think anyone, price tag or not, is bigger than the team. I don't care if he cost us 100 million or 30 million. If he's not performing and it's in a position where we have adequate backup, which we do in that midfield area, then just a little slap, just to be like, know your station. Yes, you are the most expensive signing we've had, but it was the same with Morgan Gibbs-White. Well, he needed dropping. He got dropped. So I would back Cooper if he decided to do it. If I can see the logic behind a player being dropped, then I've got no problem with it. Whether or not I agree or disagree, as long as there's reasons behind it,
And like you say, if there's an adequate replacement, which we obviously have in Santos. Yeah. So I'm with you. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the bench and Santos come in. And then if Santos performs, he stays here until he gets another chance. If he doesn't, then you can obviously bring him on.
Danilo's making diagonal runs now in training, I'm hearing rumors of. So he's close to being back fit.
You know what? The chat's so funny, man. There's such brilliant comments. I love them.
I always get distracted reading it. So I'm not against it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not against it. And I'm his biggest fan here, but I was Morgan Gibbs-White's biggest fan last season. But if you're not performing, you're not performing. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. But Ant, can you message Nathan? He's been hacked unless he's now a crypto guru, like Crypto Rider.
Yeah, I was
I saw, you know what? Yeah, I saw something now. Anyway, you carry on. That's an off-screen thing.
Okay, let's Dino. We got to talk about the injury stuff now. Cooper's starting to use it as excuses in the post-match, and then saying he's not using it as excuses. Chris Woods, out for at least 4 weeks now with a hamstring. I'll be honest with you, I'm not that fussed about it. But it's the rest of the players that are, because my worry now is, Dino, that we're going to see players rushed back in who then pick up injuries again, and we get into that loop that we saw last year. I was really annoyed that Taiwo came on today. We were never going to come back into that match. Why risk him getting injured, for me, unless he is fully fit, which I don't know. But
you can't win though, can they? If it had not brought him on, people have been screaming, "Why did they bring him on?" If you know, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. You've got to look at the bigger picture. Keeping Taiwo fit is important, but Cooper can't win in that situation.
He could have won. He could have brought him on after 31 minutes when they went 1-0 up. Try and get some points out of the game, or half time.
But having said that, if he was going to bring Taiwo on, I think one of you guys mentioned it earlier. Why wouldn't you just start with him?
Yeah, I mentioned that. Start him.
Yeah, as he was. Why is it that players can only come on for the second half? Say he had 30 minutes in him. What is wrong with subbing someone off after 30 minutes? Like, we could have got a foothold in the game, and then you sub him off potentially. Why? No one really does that. It's not something I'm saying about Cooper. You don't see it generally with managers, do you?
No. It's not just a Cooper thing. It's a bit weird. Going back to your comment about injuries. It's kind of Chelsea and Forest seem to have a problem somewhere along the line with massive injuries, and it seems to be a lot of it. I don't know the exact figures, but a lot of it seems to be away from the match days and on the training ground. Yeah, it's a good point. But the thing is with it, we went in quite hard on the medical team last year, but the medical team aren't the ones that injure the players. There's got to be something in the training. Now, I listened to Eddie Howe speak prior to this weekend, and he was talking about Newcastle in general, and he said we don't train much at all in the week. You know, and he tends to have his injuries on the pitch rather than in training. And I thought that was quite interesting. You know, they're a little bit different. They're playing more games because they're in Europe and we're not. But there's got to be something in there, whether I don't know, until you can see him train, or I'm not a physio either, so we can't. Blackadine we can't have all injury-prone players. We can't have.
Yeah, but this is the thing. What he says is right. And as Dino just mentioned, Chelsea and Forest had the highest injuries last year, and that's happened. What is interesting is that the other team that's really suffering with injuries this season as well is Sheffield United, who are playing in a low block style football. I am still adamant that the style of football is the thing that can cause injuries to happen as well. And that's the thing. You know, it's like if you're chasing the ball rather than moving the ball, you're putting more energy in, there's potential for more injuries. Now, you are right, Dino. We've probably seen less injuries on the pitch than maybe we saw last year. And a lot of these are happening in training. Apparently, Chris Wood pulled his hamstring 2 days ago on the training pitch. What is he doing on this goddamn training pitch? It's just
nobody should be training that hard to injure themselves, for me. Not for me. It's a bit weird.
What's your take on it, Crypto?
I do agree about the low block. If you're playing low block, the whole team is constantly walking around the pitch, having to get back and defend, having to cover passes, etc. Whereas if you play an attacking formation, there's points in the game where, you know, as the ball goes back and forth between each goal, the defenders get a little bit of a rest, etc., etc. They'll still be heavy on the midfield, but with low block, it's basically everybody trying to work, you know, for 90 minutes. In regards to the injuries in training, I mean, there must be something that's going on, whether it's a certain type of training or something they're doing in the gym. There must be something which means they're either overworking or they're risking injury. I have no idea what it could be, but it is very strange that we always have loads of injuries. And unfortunately, getting it in the striker department at the moment is not good.
And you were really against this argument last year.
It's all a load of bollocks. I was watching a program the other day by a Chelsea podcaster, because they've got more injuries than we've got, and he put up Premier League list of injuries, and we're about halfway up. So we're not anywhere near the worst or anything like that. Teams like Manchester United, Chelsea, Sheffield United, every type of football team. Now, there is definitely an epidemic of injuries. So whether that's down to the pitchers, whether it's down to the amount of matches they play, whether it's down to tactics, whether it's down to the footwear they use, I don't know. But it ain't down to the medical stuff. I'll tell you that right now, because the medical stuff only have them whilst they're injured. They don't have them before. They don't have them afterwards for rehab. They only have them whilst they're injured.
Yeah, no, it's more likely to be something in training than the medical stuff.
Yeah,
training. Yeah, a lot of training injuries. So maybe the training's different these days, but there's something happening in football that's causing all these injuries, and it ain't just our club people. Really
I tend to agree. And it's not. I don't think you get a lot of injuries where it's impact injuries, where a player's smashed into another player.
Right.
There's a lot of pulls, isn't there? Pulled groin, pulled hamstring seems to be the two most popular ones at the minute.
Calves,
calves when there's cows playing. Yeah. I'll tell you what really pisses me off. You know what really pisses me off?
Go on.
Cling film.
I thought you were going to say Lego on the floor.
No, cling film. I really hate it. Anyway, just off topic.
Okay, then on that
anyway,
point,
can I say that I'm glad to see Aina back.
Yeah. Yes,
I think he's still looking really good.
Yeah. Are there any positives from today?
This is what I'm trying to get to now. I thought Mangala was really good again. So press resistant. Oh, I think he's so press resistant. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Aurier's
struggling a bit, isn't it?
Get back to me. Get back to me.
Dominguez was quite good, apart from his awful ways to the ball. But he always looks good. He did a bit of skill in the first half where he took on like 3 players and managed to pass the ball away, won a foul. So he always looks.
Now highlights now, Crypto. He won
highlights now, winning fouls. You know, that's like a Jack.
Taiwo's back. Taiwo's back. That's another positive.
Taiwo's back.
Yeah, he's a beast, isn't he?
We didn't lose 4-0. We only lost 3-0.
He looked massive, didn't he? He looked really impressive up there.
We do.
Can I ask people? Would they play a low block at home to Villa?
No.
No, man. No. Come on.
I wouldn't. But they're scary at the minute, aren't they?
I think, the Villa game, I think we should be looking at it as, right, we can get 3 points here, and we should get 3 points. I know they're a good team. Because we need to get points from somewhere. I know Villa
they're probably the most informed team in the country.
Yeah, I know.
But they're not as good as Liverpool.
I know, but this is what we were talking about, motivation. You can't say to the players, right, lads, Villa are probably going to spank us today. Don't worry about it.
So just go out there, defend as well as you can, and walk about a bit.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
It can't go 8 matches without a win. It's just there has to be some.
This is a big one, yeah.
I can tell you how to beat Villa.
Oh, here we go, Mr. High Press.
Go on then, Dino.
Let me just ring Cooper and ask him. No, you've got to stop Diaby and Watkins. If you watch their games, they're just like on pieces of string. They just pass to each other all the time. Diaby is setting up Watkins and Watkins misses a load of chances. And it's literally, you stop those two, you stop Villa.
What about what's his face in the middle? He's red hot. We're going to ignore Douglas Luiz as well. Just ignore him.
Yeah, ignore him.
Don't worry about him.
He'll have him in his pocket. Hey, listen, Peter Smith. Where are you? Peter Smith, sorry. Can you imagine Wolverine if you got Michael Carrick in because he's ex-United? Can you imagine that? I think he'd give up the stream, to be honest.
I'm officially Cooper in. I'm Cooper in.
Can you just? Sorry, I know I've been ignorant here. Can you just remind me of exactly his what he's achieved in the Premier League at a big club?
Who, Cooper?
Michael
Cooper.
Carrick.
Oh, who's he directed that? Sorry.
Huh?
You're sticking at a minute. Yeah, you're
who was that directed to? Somebody in the chat.
I'll tell you when you're back.
Who's back? Am I back? Hello?
I'm back.
Yeah, you're all back. You're all back. Oh no, you've gone again.
Is that Freuler on the top right? Because he just disappeared off the screen.
Everything's fine for me. What are you lot talking about? Look, while you lot are sorting whatever issues you've got,
No,
massive shout out to
everybody's back
Sai.
now.
A massive shout out to Sai with the £5. As always, FFTV, a source of comfort for post-match blues. Incidentally, each time I use cling film, my wife says a polar bear dies.
Cling
Do
film,
you know what
honestly.
you started?
It's the
Stop smothering
roll
them, then.
start. It drives me
Stop
mad.
smothering them.
I was a right tantrum the other day. I was trying to get, and then it's looped round there, and I couldn't get this bit. I couldn't find that end, and then I got that, and then it went into a V shape, and I'm like, "Fucking hell!"
Dino, that's an age thing.
It's not. It's not. And I hate to say it, but like, I can't believe we're about to talk about cling film. But like, when my missus covers something with cling film, it's like shrink wrapped on it, vacuum sealed, yeah. And then when I go to put it on, it's just like flops everywhere. I don't know how to use the thing. And as Dina says, I don't know how to cut it with that little teeth thing. So I rip it. You end up with a fat end on one bit. Yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
it's the worst invention ever.
Enough cling film. Right. The final topic we've got is Cooper and the dressing room and the players. So, Owen, I'm sorry, but we are going to talk about Cooper. So have a good night. I'm only joking. There's been a lot. I saw a lot of comments earlier on in the watch along the players' ratings, etc., saying, is Cooper losing the dressing room? I personally don't think he is, but I don't know if he's got the respect of every player. Is probably how I'd phrase my opening gambit on it. You boys want to jump in? Crypto, what do you think on this one? And chat, what do you think? What do you think?
I don't think he's lost the dressing room, but I think there'll be players in there who are frustrated, like, you know, Morgan Gibbs-White. I don't think it's the type of formation and tactical, you know, if you're an attacking player, it's probably the same with Sangare, you know, Morgan Gibbs-White, etc. You want to push forward, but I don't think he will have lost the dressing room. I think he's got too much respect for that, and you see it in the interviews that the kind of Forest social team put out. But there must be frustration. It's probably especially hard for someone like Sangare who can't speak English either. You know, he can't vent his frustration to other people. It'd be interesting, you know, halftime team talks. I'm guessing they don't have translators in there then. You know, people can translate it for him, but if Cooper's shouting at them and etc., then, you know, someone's not going to sit there and
shouting.
If he's talking quietly, you know, I think that's what the changing room needs. It needs somebody to just be the polar opposite of Cooper and just go in on them and say, you know, you guys are playing crap today. You put a bit of motivation into them and a bit of fight. Because maybe Cooper is too nicey nice, you know. We've seen it before when players do, you know, bad things, make mistakes, and he puts his arm around them and says, "Don't worry about it." You know, professional football, it's not really good enough.
I think that's a great point. I want to pass it along, but before I do, Will, this is the weirdest super chat I've ever had.
Sorry, guys.
All of this died because they don't know how to use cling film and stuff. Where did you come off? Oh, Will's not enjoyed the game today.
Will is so
Jolly Ollie's put it's a wrap.
Love you, Will, man. Thank you for the £5. Go on, Anne, let's bring you in on that. This whole dressing room thing. I think Crypto's making a great point. Like, let's say he does shout. It's not like the translator is going to shout. He's probably going to say, "Nah, don't worry, Ibrahim. That was aimed at Taiwo. It wasn't."
Yeah, or he called you a twat.
It's like, don't worry, bro. Don't worry, bro. What do you reckon then?
Well, first of all, I don't think Cooper's a shouter. He may be, because we don't know, but I don't get the impression that he is.
They said it was.
Yes.
Morgan Gibbs-White did that interview where I can't remember what match it was, where he said
shouted that,
them, but it was like the only time, and they respected. He said Morgan Gibbs-White, the players respected him for that. So does that mean that every other game they respect him?
I think we all know footballers are basically children. They have to be told what to do, and they have to be admonished when they've been naughty, and they have to be praised when they've been, you know, footballers are children. So if you let them get away with stuff like children, they will do. I don't know if he's a shouter. Sangare, somebody mentioned there are a lot of French speakers in the dressing room. I also noticed today when the physio came on, he seemed to be rabbiting away to the physio. I don't know if they could understand each other, but they were both going at it.
Yeah, clean film. I need clean film. Clean
Yeah,
film.
wrap it up. As the polar bear died. Where was I? Yeah, I've said this before, that whilst he was looking after the kids and the lesser quality players, I think he was fine. He's got a different dressing room now. Not as he got much higher quality players that have got their own ideas about how they should be playing and where they should be playing. But also we're bound to have cliques. We're bound to have the French speakers, Portuguese speakers, English speakers. And that could be an issue, because those that speak that language could start saying things against the manager that the others can't understand. And that's how it can develop. So I am a little bit concerned by the attitude or lack of attitude and application they were showing today. I am concerned that some of them are thinking, this player don't know what he's on about. And once players start thinking that, they will not try as hard, I promise you.
Do you think
that is the definition of losing the dressing room, in my opinion?
Do you think not having and I know it often goes to Aurier, but not having a proper consistent captain makes a difference on the pitch? Because obviously Worrell and Yates are the captains, but it's very rare that they're on the pitch for 90 minutes. Who on the pitch is telling them? Why is Bolly not given the captaincy? Why is
not modern day captains? Because modern day captains, I mean, I was thinking early on, actually, I can't imagine them putting in a performance like that if Stuart Pearce had been on the left, because he'd have been at them in their faces. But that's not how captains behave these days.
Yeah, but it could
they're basically there to do the interviews and talk to the referee. That's it.
There needs there needs to be a leader.
Yeah.
Dead right.
Management team.
Dead right. Leader. I like to distinguish between leader and captain. You can be a leader without being a captain. That's my point. We definitely need leaders.
Just a point on this. This did actually, I found this weird the other day. Because Cooper was talking about Chris Wood, and he said he's one of our leadership. What was the thing called?
Leadership group. Leadership as voted by the rest of the team.
Literally the point I was just about to make. Since when did the team vote for leaders, man? Leaders emerge, in my opinion. You don't vote your leaders.
Arsenal players vote for their captain.
But that's wrong in the game. That's wrong. Leaders step forward.
Well, let's not go down the captain route again. Honestly, it starts with the manager, man. And you know, every time, how many times this season and last season have you seen us come out in the second half after a bad first half and really go at our team? Half-time tea talks. There must be just half-time tea talks.
Yeah.
Right? So it's got to start with the manager for me.
Talking about tea.
I don't know what he's doing because I'm not in the changing room. But I guess from what the players have said, the likes of MGW, that it's a bit of a light touch. But he wants to do that because he wants to bring the players together. And players like Lewis O'Brien and others that have come in and been the bad apples of the side have been booted out of the club. And I respect that. But there's a point where you have a nice, happy team that get on well, and on social media they're all laughing and joking, and a team that fucking put it together on the pitch.
Yeah.
We haven't got the latter.
You know what I thought?
We've won 2 games out of 10. We've won 1 more than Luton.
Yeah, it's not
so
good.
People need to get real about we need this, that, and the other. We need the team and the manager to pull together and start looking at winning games. Forget talking about them in press conferences, you know, the other team. We talk about what we're going to do to them.
But this is why we need to go into the Villa game thinking we can actually win, as opposed to thinking, oh, Villa are better.
No, we should.
Yeah, but the fans are not thinking we'll win, Ben. We're all now brainwashed and thinking, God, Villa's going to be a tough game. Brighton's going to be a tough game. West Ham's going to be a tough game because we can't see that much progress.
Because of what we've seen, Dino, because of the evidence before our eyes.
Gone too far. Something.
Owen, we're 16th. We finished 16th last season. We're 16th now.
Let me tell you this: Marinakis doesn't spend £200 million.
I still love you, Owen.
Yeah, Owen, can I ask you on that point? Because I see that point a lot. This isn't aimed at you. This is aimed at people that use that point. Did those points from last year count towards our tally this year? Have I missed something? Have they changed the rules in the Premier League? So the 5 points we had last year, we now on 15 points. Can someone just explain? Because I see that argument so much and I don't get it. Should we not be looking at what's here and in the current, what position we're in, how many points we've now got in comparison to others, and are we where we should be? Or are we going to keep comparing that? Or should we compare to how many points we had in the championship? Let's go back 2 years.
You know, it's like saying, well, we beat such a team last year, so we should beat them this year, or vice versa. They beat us last year, so we shouldn't beat them this year. Last year. We've got virtually a new squad. If you look at the actual players that started first game of last season to who's playing now, it's virtually a new squad. So it doesn't matter what we did last year. It doesn't matter. We're not going down. None of us think we're going to go down, but we want more. We want to advance. We want to progress.
After all of the investment in the club, in the buying new players, on paper we have a much better team, but we need to play like that, and we need to finish somewhere which reflects that, not 16.
Right.
And just very quickly, sorry,
sci-fi monkey.
I mean, if you think we don't have a relationship with the club by now, then fucking, God help you.
Yeah, God help you, man.
So when we, I think there's been enough evidence, whether you hate us, like us, or indifferent to us, or whatever, that I think is pretty obvious. Like when we say something, we're not saying it out of things. And can you show me today where anything was mentioned about Marinakis being pissed off with this result? Please do.
Plus, just to put it into perspective, it's not the bus driver either. Senior, it up there. So just trust us on that. Can I just? This is an acid test for me. Great comment. Now, do we agree, and a chat as well, yes or no? Are we seriously, whoever's fault it is, players, manager, Marinakis, whatever, which way the wind's blowing, are we underperforming in your opinion this season? I'm a yes.
100%.
Can
I say I've got a solution to the problem now, and I think it works. Bringing a really good, tactically astute, forward-thinking, progressive manager, and have Steve Cooper as his assistant for the vibes. How about that? That'd work.
Never gonna happen. He would never go.
I know it won't happen, but see what I'm saying, don't you? Steve Cooper, I love Steve Cooper for the vibes. Don't ever think I don't. I love him for the vibes. I just don't think that he's the best tactically, and I don't think he's got the kind of
kahunas.
Got it in him to take risks. And sometimes in football, you need to do that.
But the thing is, Ant, he does take risks, like at the Luton game, but they're the wrong ones.
Not by bringing Worrell on.
They're the wrong risks. I mean, last week was it was sickening, to be honest, to be sat there 2-0 up, and he makes those changes knowing full well that they're not good enough just because he's the captain. It's not good enough. He needs some, he's got to have a hard streak. He can't just be like, oh, sentimental, I need to bring Worrell and Yates on. Yates isn't that bad, but he's not a starter, He needs he's got to be stronger in his choices.
For me, I think everyone can make their own mind up. This is going to be a subjective question. But as shout out to Rob, when we were doing our debate last week, I said I think we have the 11th best squad in the league, at least. If I was being conservative, I'd say 11th. So I would expect us on par to be 11th to 13th, overperforming to be between 9th and 11th. And for us to be overperforming to be 9th to 11th or 8th to 11th, you would need the manager to be getting you that extra juice out of those players. So if we're sitting here now in 16th, the table doesn't lie. Excuse me. And we are underperforming. And I think that's factual. Unless you think our squad is the 16th best squad. Unless you think the likes of, who's ahead of us in the table now? Pretty much everyone, yeah? But if you're going to tell me, for example, that you think Fulham have got a better squad, or Crystal Palace, or Wolves, or Everton, then fair enough, make your case for it. Brentford, without Tony. So I would say realistically, 11th is where we are in terms of how good our squad is, and we're 16th. So we are underperforming in my calculation of that. So if everyone kind of does it themselves,
I love the way you put that. I think that is absolutely spot on, because I've said, haven't I, that I think we've got a potentially top 10. That means 10th, if I'm being honest. I say top 10. I'm not talking about 4. I'm talking about 10. But I would be quite happy to be 11th, 12th, 13th. I'll be quite happy with that. So I love the way you put that, because that is exactly how I would think about it. If all being equal, if the squad's better than the 9 others, then we should finish 10th. And if we don't, I can only put that down to management.
You've got to get.
Players, you can put it down to both. I'm not saying this isn't anything about Cooper here. What I'm saying is if you're not where you think you are in the squad, plus or minus say 2, then something's wrong. And
I think we look better in the 4-3-3 personally.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we are better in a 4-3-3.
You know, even like somebody put way earlier in the chat about when we when Man City went down to 10 men and we started to push them, and we like last 20-25 minutes we were all over them because we changed to that formation again. I really do think we should.
4-3-3 is our natural squad formation, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And listen, the tactics on the pitch as they lay it out on Sky and what actually happens on the pitch, it's 2 different things. You've got an attacking phase and a defensive phase. But for me, if you're starting with the 5 at the back and 1 up front, you are sitting back, man. And I think we've got to get further up the pitch. And the way we do that is a 4-3-3. It's made for our team when everybody's fit up front, obviously. And we look so much better. It's better to watch. And if we get beat 2-0 at Liverpool with a 4-3-3, so what? At least we've had a 4-3-3 and we've had a go.
I think on that as well, Dino, it wouldn't matter losing, to Liverpool if we beat Luton. We should be winning the games. We should be winning. And if we lose the game we expect to lose, then no one really cares. But you can't lose and draw against like Sheffield United. We should have battered them. We shouldn't have conceded a goal.
Yeah. Thomas Frank did a low block at the weekend and won 2-0 away against Chelsea. Chelsea, was it?
Yeah, with Chelsea. But Crypto, what you said there is a freaking good point, because not only that, say we had beaten Luton and Burnley as well. You go into this Liverpool game more relaxed, don't you? I'm not talking about us as fans, but as players. That, hey, if we don't win, we don't win. We've picked up where we needed to. If we get a bonus point here, fantastic. That's when it becomes that whole free swing crap. It's no longer a free swing when you've messed up on the points you should have got. And yes, we got those 3 extra points at Chelsea, but we can't live on those for, forever. They're like fish, man. They go off quickly, these points. You got to start accumulating. So, yeah, I think that's a cracking point.
Another thing we shouldn't do at our level is when we play Man United, we're not expecting to beat them. But when we go 2-0 up, we should. We shouldn't lose that game.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. I mean, for me, the change was last week. What really annoyed me is when Coop came out, blamed Bolly, said it was based on jet lag. I mean, it's just utter rubbish. It's not acceptable. He
subsequently came back and did full circle.
Yeah, then he came back full circle. He needs to own it. He needs to.
I don't give a shit what he says in press conference. I don't care about what's on that pitch. He can make all the excuses up, or he can, explain things. I don't care. It's what's on the pitch that matters. I'm not bothered.
Yeah, but he puts the players on the pitch. And if they're
no. I'm saying just all the talk. I'm not bothered because it's all bullshit. Managers talk bullshit all the time. All managers.
People in the chat, the Happy Club, say, "Oh, look at Cooper. He's got so much respect for the city and stuff." And then he comes out and tries to blame the Luton loss on someone flying in a plane. It's just bollocks.
What you need to do, in my opinion, is beat the teams you should beat. And at the moment, we're not doing that. Forget Liverpool, right? Even though it's a poor performance, we're not beating the teams we should beat. And that's when that's when you have problems, because if you're not beating the teams you should beat, you're still going to lose to the teams you should lose to, and and that's where the problem lays.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where even though we've got draws in a lot of these matches, it's still 2 points dropped. So technically you're looking at 4 points now. Had we got the 4 extra points, where would we be in the league on 14 points? That would have put us up to 10th. In fact, 10th, 9th. So these margins are huge.
I can't believe we're below Man U. I can't believe it.
Mate, don't get me started on Man U. But you know what I mean? Like this saying, oh, well, okay, so we dropped a couple against Luton. Those 4 points are now huge, yeah? If we hadn't fully capitulated against Man U, it could have been 15 points. Let's say we half capitulated and got a draw. So then you're looking at being level on points of Man U. So these fine margins are huge. They're huge.
Fine margins. Did you just say fine margins, Mr. Houghton?
It's getting to that stage, boys.
You go too far, Dino. You go too far.
Yeah. On that note, let's finish with this question. Okay, are we in a relegation fight, Dino?
If we don't win one of the next 3 games, yes.
Crypto?
I don't think we're in a relegation fight just because I think there's 3 worse teams than us. So I don't think we'll get relegated. But if we finish, anything below 15th, for me, it's unacceptable. We should be progressing through the leagues each season, especially with the players that we've got.
And
I agree 100% with what Crypto's just said. We're not in a relegation fight because there are so many very, very poor teams. I don't want to be that side that's, like I say, we're okay because there's 3 crap teams. And anything 15th or below for me is a failure. We need to progress. We need to progress. And progressing from 16th to 15th for me is not good enough. For me, it's got to be 14th and above minimum.
yeah, I don't think we're getting relegated, but are we in a relegation scrap? I almost feel like it's two-tiered, where the 3 at the bottom, have Bournemouth sorted it out? I don't think they have, but we may be in that group above that aren't getting relegated, but we're scrapping for points. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that's going to be acceptable for Marinakis. And Sci-Fi, that was me speculating. I haven't had a text message from the big Greek father to say that, just to clarify in case you were wondering. But I don't think that scrap above the bottom 3 would be acceptable for him. So I think we may find ourselves, especially after the next 2 to 3 games, going into the Everton match. And my screens have gone black. Can you still hear me?
Next 3 games going into the Everton match.
Yeah, then we are in a relegation scrap because we'll have taken no points. You'd expect some teams around us to have picked up the odd 1 or 2. So you never know. I think these next 3 games are very, very critical. We got to get something from them. But
you know what scares me? You know what scares me about that, Wolfie? What scares me about that is that I was looking at today. We've got some tough games coming up. And then we've got what looks like a nice little run. But then I'm thinking Fulham. I'm thinking Brentford. I'm thinking Bournemouth. I'm thinking Luton. I'm thinking there's no guarantees that we're going to win the easier games. So, yeah, it's kind of concerning. But as I say,
but if we're going with that mentality as a team, then we've got no chance.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think what the lack of confidence in the team is showing at the minute, with 6 games without a win, is rolling over onto some of the fans.
I really do think that as soon as the formation gets announced, if it's low block, for me, that's just negative across the whole team. That just tells the players that Cooper doesn't think we can win the match, to me.
Yeah.
It's
mentality.
If you're starting the match, so he's played 4-4-3 a few times this season at home. So the players know that that's the formation Cooper sets us up to try and win the match. If he sets us up as a low block, he's basically just bending over and saying, let's try and not lose too badly.
You know what? That's a cracking point, Crypto. You made a few tonight, because if you look at the ones we start in the 4-3-3 on, we've dominated the first 30 minutes of each of those games. We haven't necessarily gone on to win them, granted, but the mentality is what you're saying, isn't it? We've gone out on the front foot, whereas today when we set up in the 5-3-1-1, we're just on the back foot low block. I think that's a great point. I think you guys should be hitting that like button if you haven't already on Crypto's point there on that. So we'll do a Villa preview. Obviously, it's another Sunday game, boys. I hate these Sunday games. But is anyone expecting anything out of Villa? Quick talk on Villa. And
I think we'll play 4-3-3 because Taiwo's back. Thank God. And if we do, I think we can get something against Villa. It's going to be tough. But yeah, we can definitely get something against Villa. I'm going to put us down for a 1-1. I know it's early days, it might change, but
yeah, 1-1.
I'll put us down for 2-1. I think we can win that one at home.
Yeah.
If we go 4-3-3, I do. If we can stop, like I say, if we could stop that partnership in the middle and up front, then I think we'll be all right.
The thing is,
I don't rate that Watkins that much myself. I know everybody screams about him and thinks he's the next best thing, but for me,
he gets a lot of chances, but he also misses a lot of chances. But he gets those chances.
But that's the mentality thing again. It's fine to worry about Watkins. Why are they all not worried about Taiwo? Taiwo scored. Taiwo was Haaland the first few, but we're not thinking, we're not in that mentality anymore. We're in a worried mentality. We should be thinking, right, we've got Taiwo, we've got all these good players. We can win the match. We're at home.
Yeah.
We can do well in the next three.
As long as the team don't feel that way.
Yeah. With the right mentality, we can do well in the next 3 games.
Exactly.
No reasons why we can't.
But Cooper has to set that mentality.
Exactly. We can't do it.
Let me finish with this one question. Is Cooper here come the international break? Chat, yes or no? What do you think, Ant?
Yeah, you just blipped out there. Is he here come when?
The international break.
The international break?
Yeah, mid-November. After West Ham, basically.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying, after the break or before the break.
Before we play Brighton at 3 p.m. on Saturday, whatever it is, yeah. Will he be in the dugout, do you think?
Well, obviously, that will be dependent upon the results that we attain.
That's why I'm asking you what you think.
I think he will be, yeah.
Crypto?
Yeah, I think the only way I can see it not happening is if we got absolutely smashed at home, but I think he'll still be there even if we were to lose the next few matches.
Wow, okay. That'll be like 8 or 9 without a win.
I think we dare mention the name Marinakis, but I think Marinakis cares about what the fans think. And until the majority of the fan base turn, I think he'll be kept in the job.
Can I just say very quickly? Yeah, I'm only saying yes because I think we will get some results in that time. That's why I'm saying yes. If he doesn't, then no.
If he gets a win and a draw in over the next 3 games, he'll still be in a job. If he gets 3 losses, he won't be in a job.
Yeah. The international breaks in 2, though, Dino. The international breaks in 2.
Right. Okay. So 2 games then.
Well, basically, Villa, West Ham.
2 losses, he won't have a job. One win, he will.
2 draws. Might as well go through all the stuff.
Still be in a job.
We've already seen that if Cooper takes us down into the Championship, half the fan base still wants to keep him, which for me is ridiculous.
They say, you know what? I've been thinking about it. They say that now, but if we were to lose like 8 games on the trot and get hammered, I'm not so sure they'd stick to it. Say it now, but
yeah. Who do you want to say? I've got Zidane's number in the old phone book. No. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with probably something. No, we got Beat the Drop tomorrow. Beat the Drop tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
8 p.m. tomorrow.
Beat the drop.
It's going to be fun because Jace just lost to Everton Mike. That's going to be box office. If Everton Mike's not on holiday, I can't remember if he is.
Plus has been 16th. Sorry to interrupt. Plus has been 16th. Means that we're in it as well. And that's,
we're legitimately in
it.
Please hit that like button if you haven't already. We'll catch up with you later. Come on, you Reds.